Just take a look at this chart for a second. It really says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got average wages kind of just flatlining. And on the other, you've got house prices shooting for the moon. Now, for past generations, that gap was a hurdle, sure, but one they could clear. For a lot of young people today, that's not a hurdle, that's a canyon.
And that canyon is the perfect place to start talking about this idea we're exploring today: financial nihilism. It sounds intense, I know, but it's a very real mindset. We're going to break down exactly why it seems like an entire generation is just giving up on the whole idea of saving for the future.
And it all boils down to this one kinda crazy question. How on earth did we get to a place where buying a $7 latte feels more logical, more rational than saving that money for a house? A house that so many young people genuinely believe they will never ever be able to afford. Let's get into it. Okay, so first up, let's really try to understand the mindset that's driving all this. What does it actually mean to be part of what some are calling the giving up generation? So this is the heart of it right here, financial nihilism. It's this core belief that if the big traditional goals, the house, the comfortable retirement, are just completely impossible, then why bother with all the small sacrifices? If the finish line is on another planet, why even start running the race?
So, is this all just a feeling? Is it just a vibe? Or is there hard data to back up the sense that the dream is basically impossible now? Well, let's take a look at the numbers.
And wow, this one chart just lays it bare. Go back to the 70s, and the average house cost about 3 times the average yearly salary. Tough, for sure, but doable. You could see a path. Today, in a lot of cities, you are looking at 10, 15, sometimes even 20 times the average salary. The goalposts haven't just moved, they're in a different solar system. And if you think that's bad, it gets so much worse when you do the math. Let's say you need $100,000 for a down payment. If you can only realistically save, say, a couple $100 a month, it would take you 40 years just to save up that down payment. 40 years! When a young person sees a number like that, something inside their brain just snaps. It feels like a joke. So this leads to a really important question. If that money isn't going into a long-term savings account, where is it going? And what's really driving those spending choices? Well, welcome to what's being called the dopamine economy. And this quote right here just absolutely nails the logic. It's not about being reckless or irresponsible. For many, it's a perfectly rational response to what feels like an irrational system. Why would you deny yourself small joys today for a big dream tomorrow that honestly feels more like a fantasy? And so, the money gets rerouted. Instead of trying to build a savings account, it's used to build a life, right now. It goes to experiences, travel, concert tickets, nice skincare, good food with friends, things that deliver immediate value, happiness, and gratification. And of course, you throw gasoline on this whole fire with the ultimate comparison machine, social media. It's a 24/7 highlight reel, not of your neighbor's new car, but of the entire planet's most luxurious moments. The pressure to keep up, to live that best life immediately, is just immense. Then you combine that constant social pressure with the explosion of buy now, pay later services. These tools make it incredibly easy to get that little dopamine hit from a new purchase, and it helps mask that deep, long-term feeling of hopelessness, all while pulling people into a really dangerous spiral of spending. But here's where we need to take a hard turn. This whole mindset, it feels like a protest, right? It feels like you're fighting back against a broken system. But at the end of the day, who really ends up paying the price? And this is the cold, hard truth of the whole thing. It might feel like you're sticking it to the man by opting out of the game, but the system doesn't care. The only person who truly bears the consequences of not saving, of not planning, is you. Because here's what you're really giving up. When you stop saving, you throw away your single most powerful asset. And it's not money, it's time. The magic of compound interest doesn't care about your feelings or how unfair the system is. It just works. It's the engine that turns small, consistent savings into actual wealth. When you don't use it, you're not just losing money, you're losing all the money that money could have earned for you, forever. So let's reframe this whole thing. The real tragedy here isn't giving up on a house with a white picket fence. The real thing you're sacrificing is your future freedom. The freedom to quit a job you hate, the freedom to handle an unexpected crisis, the freedom to choose your own path. That's what's actually on the line. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one. It can feel overwhelming. So how do you fight back? Let's talk about a strategy for that freedom, even when the old playbook has been thrown out the window. It really boils down to 3 actionable steps. First, stop the comparison game. Seriously, your financial journey is yours alone. It is not a race against some influencer's perfectly curated vacation photos. Second, build investment discipline. Start now. I don't care if it's just $50. The amount doesn't matter as much as the habit. You're building the discipline of paying your future self first. And third, avoid bad debt like the plague. High-interest credit cards will trap you before you even get a chance to start.
Look, let's just be honest with ourselves. The game is harder now, there's no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean you forfeit. It means you have to play a smarter game. It means you have to be more disciplined and more focused than the generations that came before you. Don't let a messed up housing market trick you into staying poor forever.
And that brings us to the final question, the one you have to sit with and really ask yourself. When you look at your own finances, your own habits, your own mindset, what's the real answer? Are you saving, or have you already given up?